Have you ever really stopped to think about that little computer you might be wearing on your wrist? I mean, it does way more than just tell time these days, right? Tracks your steps, checks your heart rate, lets you take calls. It's become pretty central for a lot of us. So today, that's exactly what we're doing. A deep dive into the, frankly, explosive growth and evolution of the global digital watch market. Our mission here is basically to unpack the key insights from our source material. It's a really comprehensive report from Cognitive Market Research. We want to understand how these things went from simple timekeepers to, essential tech wearables. The goal is for you to get a clear picture of what's driving this massive growth and what it might mean moving forward.
And massive really is the word. It's quite compelling, not just because the devices are useful, but the sheer scale of the projected growth. It really shows how technology is, well, weaving itself into our daily lives, moving beyond just the phone in your pocket to something right there on you.
Okay, so let's dig into the specifics then. Let's paint that picture. The source says this market was valued at $22.37 billion back in 2021. Fast forward just 4 years to 2025, and it's forecast to hit $37.44 billion, almost double. But here's the really wild part. By 2033, the projection is a staggering $104.88 billion.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, to give you some context, that's like the entire GDP of a country like Ukraine or Kuwait. Often these little wrist devices, that works out to a compound annual growth rate, a CAGR, of 13.7%.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
It really is. And a key thing here, I think, is that this isn't just about selling more watches. It's more fundamental. It's about what the digital watch actually represents now. For consumers, sure, but also for the companies making them. It's shifted, from a gadget to, well, an indispensable bit of personal tech. So companies are pouring money into things like better sensors, medical-grade stuff even, AI, health insights, making sure it all connects smoothly. The market value is escalating because the watch itself is becoming more valuable. Maybe it's tracking your health proactively or controlling your smart home, not just counting steps. That's where the real value, the stickiness for brands, comes in.
That makes a lot of sense. And it helps explain those core drivers, right? There's this general surge in demand for wearable tech, plus that deep fitness and health integration you mentioned. And yeah, linking up with smart homes. I mean, just the other day, I saw someone change their thermostat from their watch. It's connected to everything, your phone, your speakers. It's all about that convenience, that control.
Exactly. Seamless integration is key.
So let's zoom in a bit. Where is this growth actually happening? Who's leading the pack? And are there any surprises? North America, for example, still a huge player, projected to hit $25.55 billion by 2033. That's growing at a solid 13.5% CAGR. And the U.S. is the biggest chunk of that, $17.55 billion, predictably. But look at Canada, it's smaller, sure. But its growth rate is actually projected higher at 14.8% CAGR, heading towards $6.07 billion. And Mexico's looking strong, too, on track for about $1.93 billion.
That Canadian figure is interesting. It suggests maybe a market that's not quite as saturated as the U.S. yet, so potentially more room for new players or, faster adoption among consumers who are just getting into it. Whereas in the U.S., while it's massive, maybe more of the growth comes from people upgrading, getting the newer features, rather than first-time buyers. Just a thought.
Good point. Okay, let's hop across the pond. Europe, poised to hit $20.77 billion. You've got the big players like Germany at $4.93 billion, the UK at $3.73 billion, France $2.76 billion. And the source specifically calls out a strong demand there for fashion-forward wearable technology. So aesthetics matter. It's not just function.
Right. The style element seems particularly strong there.
But if we're talking sheer value and, well, the main growth engine, it has to be Asia-Pacific. It's got an incredible 14.4% CAGR, expected to jump from $7.32 billion in 2021 to, get this, $37.39 billion by 2033.
Wow, that's enormous.
It is. China's the biggest piece, of course, $12.05 billion. But India has the highest growth rate globally, $15.56 billion. And we're also seeing really strong uptake in places like Singapore, Japan, South Korea, lots of tech-savvy consumers.
And if we zoom out for a second on Asia Pacific, it's not just about population or rising incomes, though that's part of it. Something that's maybe overlooked is the power of the local tech ecosystems there. Think Xiaomi, Huawei.
Yep.
They often bundle their watches into this whole suite of services, payments, smart home, everything. It creates this almost walled garden effect. It's really sticky. It makes it harder for global players, even Apple, to replicate that deep integration sometimes.
That local context is crucial. Okay. Moving down south, South America shows steady growth, expected to reach about $7.97 billion. Brazil's leading there at $3.05 billion, with Argentina and Colombia following, so definitely a growing appetite.
Steady progress, yeah.
And then the Middle East, another region with impressive growth, 14.5% CAGR, heading towards $8.13 billion by 2033. Saudi Arabia is a key market, $2.82 billion, and you see rapid growth in the UAE and Qatar too.
Yeah, and the source highlights specific drivers there. A real interest in luxury smartwatches and also wellness features. So it suggests a consumer base with perhaps more disposable income, valuing both the high-tech side and that premium feel, status symbols almost as well as functional devices.
Right, luxury and wellness. Interesting mix. And finally, Africa. It's marked as an emerging market, but still expected to hit $5.07 billion by 2033. Nigeria and South Africa together make up over $4 billion of that. The report links this to rising digital connectivity and growing health awareness.
And this brings up a really interesting point, doesn't it, about the potential in these rapidly digitizing economies. As internet access spreads, as people become more health conscious, these devices could play a huge role, maybe even helping to bridge gaps in, say, traditional healthcare access by offering basic monitoring. It could be about fundamental utility there, not just a lifestyle add-on.
Absolutely. So, pulling this all together, what's the big takeaway for you, the listener? What does it all mean?
Well, it means the digital watch has come a long way. It's not just about time anymore. It's really on this transformative path, driven by smart tech, fitting into fashion, meeting all sorts of different consumer needs across the globe. It's becoming a mirror to our connected lives.
Exactly. We talked about advanced health tracking, the seamless phone connection, payment systems. These things are making digital watches feel less like accessories and more like, well, lifestyle essentials. For a growing number of people, they're becoming integral to managing health, communication, money, even their homes. It's shifting from nice to have towards need to have.
Yeah, lifestyle essentials feels right. And just to quickly recap those key growth points, India, Canada, Saudi Arabia, they're showing the fastest percentage growth, that high CAGR. But Asia Pacific and North America, they still dominate in terms of the overall market value, the biggest slices of the pie.
Clear distinctions there.
Yeah.
So as these watches get even more embedded as essentials, it makes you wonder, what's next? What functions will become essential that we can't even really imagine today? And, how does this constant stream of personal data, health data, connectivity, how does that change how we think about privacy or personal space or even our relationship with technology itself in the years ahead? Something to think about.
It really is. I think this deep dive shows perfectly how technology just keeps evolving, doesn't it? Always finding new ways to weave itself into our routines, redefine them even. It's a good reminder that what seems cutting edge now will probably be standard pretty soon, constantly reshaping how we live and interact with the world and with ourselves. Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going to really get into the world of digital watches. It's fascinating how they've gone from just telling time to being these, well, essential bits of kit. Our mission here is to unpack what's driving this market, what's holding it back, and, where it's all headed. And for this, we're leaning on a great report from Cognitive Market Research called Digital Watch Market Dynamics, Drivers, Restraints, and Trends.
Yeah, and it's a really insightful piece. It makes it clear that we're way beyond just checking the time now. This whole segment is just booming, and it's changing how we use tech, how we think about our health even. We'll explore why they're becoming so crucial for so many people, but also look at some of the real hurdles that are out there.
Okay, so let's kick things off with the drivers. What's really pushing these watches onto, well, practically everyone's wrist these days? What did the report find?
Well, a huge factor, maybe the biggest one, is this massive demand for health and fitness tracking. And we're not just talking step counting here. The report emphasizes the accelerated demand for things like clinically validated ECGs.
Right, the electrocardiograms.
Exactly. And blood pressure monitoring, sleep quality, SpEPio2 blood oxygen levels. People want reliable data. It's less fitness gadget now and more personal health companion.
Right.
The shift is happening really fast, faster than, say, adopting traditional medical tech.
That's a really key point, the health companion idea. Does this deeper integration raise new issues, like privacy, maybe? Or does it mean we rely less on our phones?
Oh, definitely. And that feeds right into the second big driver the report identifies, integration.
Yeah.
It's about how these watches connect with smartphones, sure, but also the wider Internet of Things, the IoT. You can control notifications, use GPS, manage your smart home stuff, all from your wrist.
Yeah.
Often using edge computing, processing data right there on the watch.
Which helps with speed and privacy, I guess.
Exactly. It makes the watch so much more useful, almost indispensable for some people, and frankly, it pushes people to upgrade more often, to get the latest connected features.
Okay, so the tech side, the functionality, is clearly massive. But what about just how they look? Are aesthetics and personalization just as important now?
Absolutely critical. That's the third driver the report really digs into. Fashion and personalization trends. It's things like easily swappable straps, tons of customizable watch faces,
Mm.
and significantly, high-end brands using, luxury materials. That's really changed the game.
Ah, so they're becoming actual fashion statements.
Completely. It's transformed them into desirable accessories, pulling in a whole new crowd that's very style conscious, not just the tech enthusiasts. That premium end is where a lot of the differentiation is happening.
Okay, so the growth picture is pretty strong.
Okay.
But there are always bumps in the road, right? What are the main things holding back this expansion, according to the report?
Well, the number one complaint, the thing that comes up again and again in the report, is battery life.
Ah, yes, the daily charge.
Exactly. You pack in all these powerful features, the advanced health sensors, the constant connection. It just drains the battery. Manufacturers are working on it, but it leads to real user dissatisfaction when your watch dies halfway through the day. It's a major friction point.
That makes total sense. And what about just the sheer number of choices? You
Yeah.
go into a store and there are dozens that look pretty similar.
Hmm.
Is competition becoming an issue?
A huge issue. The report calls it market saturation and a real challenge in differentiation. You've got so many brands all offering kind of similar features at lots of different prices.
Right, so it gets harder to stand out.
Precisely. It leads to commoditization. Like
Yeah.
most smartphones now have a decent camera, right? So you can't charge a huge premium just for that anymore. Digital watches are hitting that point with features. Small improvements struggle to justify a higher price tag, and that really squeezes profit margins, especially in the middle range.
We've covered practical stuff like battery and competition. But these devices, they collect so much personal data, heart rate, location, sleep. How much does trust, or maybe the lack of it, become a barrier?
That's a really significant restraint, and maybe one that doesn't get enough attention. Data privacy and security concerns are definitely a growing hurdle. People are becoming more aware of what data is being collected. Sensitive health info, location
I'm
tracking.
worried about where it's going.
Exactly. Concerns about regulatory compliance, how the data is stored securely, the risk of cyber attacks. It makes some consumers quite cautious. The report suggests this caution is a real barrier to wider adoption, particularly for those very personal health diagnostic features.
Okay, so there are definitely challenges. But looking ahead now, where's the market going? What are the exciting trends, the innovations we should keep an eye on?
Well, the first big trend, and this could be truly transformative, is the move into even more advanced health monitoring. We're talking really robust, clinically validated ECGs becoming more common, continuous blood pressure monitoring, and maybe even the holy grail, non-invasive glucose monitoring. That's still in development, but it's a huge focus.
Wow, glucose monitoring without a finger prick. That would be incredible.
It would. The report suggests these kinds of features are turning digital watches into what it calls quasi-medical instruments. That really elevates their value way beyond fitness.
A huge shift indeed.
Yeah.
And thinking differently, what about sustainability? Is that becoming a factor in design and marketing? You hear so much about conscious consumers now.
Oh, absolutely. It's a definite trend the report highlights. Eco-conscious design is gaining real traction. Things like solar charging are appearing, much more use of recycled materials in the watch bodies and straps, even modular design so you can repair or upgrade parts.
Modular. Interesting. So less throwing the whole thing away.
Yeah, it's part of what they call circular strategies, designing for longer life, for reuse. And the report notes this really resonates with environmentally aware buyers. It can be a deciding factor for them.
That's great to see.
Oh.
Okay, what about cutting the cord from our smartphones? Are watches becoming more independent?
That's the next key trend, definitely. The rise of standalone connectivity. We're seeing more models with eSIM technology built in.
So the watch can make calls, get messages, run apps all by itself.
Exactly. Without needing your phone nearby, it boosts reliability. You can do more offline with AI processing on the watch itself. It just opens up more ways to use it, more scenarios where it's useful. So you put all these trends together, the advanced health stuff, sustainability, standalone use, and you see a market that's not just growing, it's evolving really fast to meet what people want. Connection, health insights, style, and increasingly independence.
It really has been a fascinating deep dive. You can see this complex interplay between the tech pushing forward what we as consumers want and those real-world challenges the market faces. It's so much more than just telling time now.
It really is. And it kind of leaves you with a big question, doesn't it? With health tracking getting so advanced and watches becoming more independent, are they going to become so essential to our daily lives, our well-being, that they basically redefine being connected, maybe even blurring that line between personal tech and, well, actual medical devices?
That's a really powerful thought to end on. And for you listening, maybe think about that. How might these future digital watches change your own day-to-day life or how you manage your health? Definitely something to ponder until our next deep dive.